What if Spider-Man married Black Widow? Not Mary Jane, not Gwen Stacy, not Felicia Hardy, but Natasha Romanoff, the deadliest spy in the world and the most broken soul in the Avengers. One is young, hopeful, and burdened by responsibility. The other is experienced, ruthless, and haunted by blood-stained memories. This is not a love story built on romance alone. It is built on survival, on secrets, on sacrifice, and in this universe, their marriage changes the fate of Marvel forever. Before entering the story, please click subscribe, like, and share to get more videos. 1. How they first meet. Peter Parker first crosses paths with Natasha Romanoff during a covert SHIELD operation in New York. Spider-Man thinks he's stopping a criminal arms deal. Black Widow thinks Spider-Man is compromising her mission. They fight. Not like heroes but like predators testing each other. Natasha notices something immediately. Spider-Man pulls his punches. Even when he has the advantage, he chooses restraint. Peter notices something too. Natasha never hesitates. She moves like someone who's already accepted death. Their partnership begins reluctantly, but mission after mission, they keep being assigned together. And slowly the banter turns into trust. The trust turns into respect. Then something far more dangerous begins to form. Connection. 2. Why Natasha falls for Peter. Natasha Romanoff has lived her entire life surrounded by lies, fake names, fake faces, fake emotions, but Peter Parker is different. He lies to protect others, not himself. He cracks jokes not to hide cruelty but to survive fear. For the first time in her life, Natasha is seen not as a weapon, not as a spy, not as a monster but as a woman who deserves peace. Peter doesn't ask about her past. He doesn't judge the red in her ledger. He just listens. 3. Why Peter falls for Natasha. Peter Parker has always been surrounded by chaos, but Natasha brings control. She teaches him discipline, tactical thinking, how to fight without relying only on strength. She becomes his mentor, and eventually, his anchor. While Peter reminds Natasha how to hope, Natasha teaches Peter how to survive a world that doesn't play fair. They don't fall in love quickly, they fall carefully, because both of them know love is dangerous. For the wedding no one sees coming. Their marriage is secret. No press, no Avengers stage, no headlines, just a quiet ceremony. Steve Rogers is there. Clint Barton stands beside Natasha. Aunt May cries softly. Natasha doesn't wear white. She wears black. Not because of tradition, but because she's finally choosing her own life. Peter promises her something no one ever has. I won't try to save you from who you were. I'll just protect who you are now. And Natasha Romanoff, the woman who never believed she deserved a future, finally believes him. Married life. Spider and Widow. When Spider-Man and Black Widow begin operating as a married couple, the balance of power in New York shifts almost overnight. This isn't just another superhero team-up. This is a fusion of two radically different philosophies of combat and survival. Peter Parker brings raw strength, impossible agility, and a moral compass that refuses to bend. Natasha Romanoff brings calculation, restraint, and the kind of experience forged in shadows where mistakes are paid for in blood. Together, they are terrifyingly effective. Crime syndicates that once thrived in the cracks of the city vanish. Kingpin's operations collapse faster than he can replace lieutenants. Hydra cells are dismantled before they even realize they've been discovered. Street-level crime drops so sharply that police precincts report entire nights without a single major incident. Spider-Man hits first fast, loud, overwhelming. Webbing floods escape routes, ceilings, and weapons in seconds. Criminals panic. That's when Black Widow moves. Silent, precise, every strike calculated, nerves disabled, threats neutralized, no wasted motion. SHIELD quickly recognizes the advantage. Their joint missions become legendary inside the agency. Where entire teams once failed, Spider-Man and Black Widow succeed with surgical perfection. Peter provides the chaos that forces enemies into the open. Natasha reads the battlefield like a chessboard, guiding him through earpieces with calm authority. 2 on the left, one hiding behind the server rack. Don't pull that wall down, it's load-bearing. Peter listens, always. For the first time in his life, Spider-Man isn't working alone, and it shows. But marriage doesn't just sharpen their effectiveness, it magnifies their fears. Natasha lives with a constant, quiet terror that never fully leaves her chest. She spent her life making enemies who don't believe in mercy. Assassins, mercenaries, ghosts from the Red Room. She knows how these people think. And she knows that loving Peter Parker makes him a target in ways he never was before. She watches him swing away each night and wonders if this will be the mission that finally takes him from her. Peter, in turn, is haunted by a different fear. He knows Natasha's instincts. He's seen how quickly she steps into danger without hesitation, how sacrifice was once her default answer to every problem. Peter is terrified that one day, in a split-second decision, she'll trade her life for his, or for the mission, because that's what she was trained to do. They don't argue about tactics, they argue about survival. Peter insists on backup plans. Natasha insists on contingencies. Late nights turn into quiet debates over kitchen tables, masks set aside, bruises half-healed. "You don't always have to be the one who stays behind," Peter tells her. "And you don't always get to save everyone," she replies. Their love doesn't weaken them. It forces them to confront the worst instincts inside themselves. Natasha must unlearn the belief that her life is expendable. Peter must accept that protecting others doesn't mean carrying every burden alone. And slowly, painfully, they change each other. Natasha begins trusting extraction over martyrdom. Peter learns that sometimes the smartest move isn't the heroic one, but the strategic one. They start planning missions together not just as operatives, but as partners who intend to come home. The world notices, villains adapt, or they disappear. Criminals refuse jobs that involve either Spider-Man or Black Widow, let alone both. Rumors spread through the underworld. If you see webs and hear nothing at all, it's already over. To the public, they are symbols of unity. Proof that heroes don't have to be broken, lonely figures to be effective. That love can exist without compromise. To their enemies, they are a nightmare. Because Spider-Man and Black Widow aren't just fighting for the city anymore. They're fighting for each other. And that makes them unstoppable. 6. The enemies strike back. Hydra resurfaces. Kingpin places bounties. Former Red Room operatives hunt Natasha. They don't attack Spider-Man. They don't attack Black Widow. They attack their marriage. Peter is captured. Not tortured but shown visions of Natasha's past. Every kill, every betrayal, every sin. The message is clear, she doesn't deserve you. 7. The darkest moment. To save Peter, Natasha offers herself. One final mission. One final sacrifice. She plans to disappear forever, believing Peter deserves a life without blood. But Peter refuses. For the first time, Spider-Man chooses love over martyrdom. He saves her, not as a hero, but as a husband. 8. The future they create. In this universe, Natasha Romanoff does not die alone. There is no cold floor beneath her, no silence swallowing her last breath, no red ledger closing unfinished. Instead, there is morning light. She grows old, not quietly, not gently, but honestly. Her hair turns silver at the edges, earned through years of battles survived, and wars that never made the history books. Her scars remain, but they no longer define her. They are simply reminders that she lived, and beside her, Peter Parker grows too. She watches him become more than Spider-Man. She sees the boy who once doubted himself, learn to trust his instincts, the hero who once carried guilt like a curse. Learn that responsibility does not mean isolation. She watches him build a life, not a perfect one, but a real one. He still swings through the city, still bleeds, still loses, but now he comes home. Together they train the next generation. Young heroes arrive full of power, but untested hearts, raw strength without direction, courage without restraint. Natasha teaches them patience, control, the discipline to think before striking. Peter teaches them compassion, the courage to care, even when it hurts, the wisdom to save lives. Instead of just winning fights, they teach the Avengers something no one ever did before. That strength without mercy becomes cruelty, and skill without heart becomes emptiness. They become mentors, not legends on pedestals, but guides who stay. And Spider-Man, for the first time in any universe, he is not punished for loving someone. No cosmic lesson tears her away. No sacrifice demands loneliness as payment. No cruel balance sheet insists that heroes must suffer to be worthy. He learns that love does not weaken him. It steadies his hands, sharpens his judgment, gives him something to protect, without losing himself. Because sometimes, the greatest act of responsibility is choosing not to lose everything again. It is choosing to stay, to heal, to believe that saving the world also means saving yourself. And in this universe, they do both. In another universe, Spider-Man and Black Widow have found happiness. But the Marvel Universe doesn't forgive happiness. Because every time Peter Parker believes he's found peace, the universe reminds him that love is the driving force. And this time, it's going to cost him everything. Welcome to part 2. Before entering the story, please click subscribe, like and share to get more videos. 1. After the wedding, the calm before the storm. Marriage changes Peter. He becomes more careful, more tactical, more afraid, not of death but of loss. Natasha notices it immediately. Spider-Man hesitates now, pulls back when danger escalates, and Natasha Romanoff knows something Peter doesn't yet understand. Fear doesn't weaken heroes, it exposes them. Enemies begin watching, waiting, learning patterns, and somewhere in the shadows, Hydra is listening. 2. The return of the Red Room. The Red Room was never destroyed, only buried. A new faction emerges led by women trained to replace Natasha Romanoff. They don't want her dead, they want her broken. Messages arrive, old trigger phrases, ghost names from her past, and Peter sees it, the cracks forming in the woman he loves. For the first time, Natasha begins pushing Peter away, because she knows what's coming, and she refuses to let him die for her sins. 3. Spider-Man makes a mistake. Peter does something he's never done before. He goes to Nick Fury, begging for help, begging for protection. And Fury says the words Peter feared most: if they can't get to her, they'll get to you. That night Spider-Man is ambushed, not by villains, but by memories, holograms, recordings, footage of Natasha killing. The Red Room whispers, she will always choose the mission. Peter survives, but something inside him doesn't. For the argument that changes everything, Peter confronts Natasha, not with anger but fear. He asks her the question he never wanted to ask. If it came down to it, would you choose me? Natasha doesn't answer, because the truth terrifies her. She leaves that night, not to abandon him but to protect him, and Peter Parker is left alone again. 5. The capture. Natasha walks into a trap. The Red Room captures her willingly. They don't torture her body. They torture her purpose. They show her Peter's injuries, his near-death reports. They give her an ultimatum, return to us, or Spider-Man dies. Natasha realizes something horrifying. As long as she exists, Peter will never be safe. 6. The final sacrifice. Peter tracks her down. Too late. Natasha has already made her decision. She destroys the Red Room facility from the inside. Fire. Collapse. No escape route. Her last message reaches Peter mid-battle. You taught me how to love. That's why I have to leave. Spider-Man screams. The city hears it, but Black Widow never comes back. 7. Spider-Man after Black Widow. Peter Parker doesn't quit, but Spider-Man changes forever. No jokes. No hesitation. Crime drops to near zero, not because criminals are arrested but because they are afraid. The Avengers notice. Steve Rogers says quietly, we lost him too. Peter keeps Natasha's ring, always, because letting go would mean admitting love killed her. 8. A hero who survived love. Years later, Spider-Man stands alone on a rooftop. The city below him still breathes, still screams, still needs him. But he is no longer the boy who once swung through these streets laughing at danger. The suit fits tighter now, not because he's grown stronger but because time has weighed on him. Every scar beneath the fabric tells a story he never talks about. He is older, tired, still Spider-Man. The world moved on. New heroes rose. New wars were fought, but some losses never age. Every night, before he answers the call of the city, he checks the light in the window below. A small apartment, a quiet life he never imagined for himself. Inside, a child sleeps. His child. Peter Parker never planned to be a single father, never planned to survive the woman he loved, never planned to explain absence, sacrifice, or death to someone who still believes heroes always come home. But life never asked him what he wanted. He raises their child alone. He learns patience the hard way, learns how to cook badly, learns how to smile even when grief tightens his chest, learns that love does not end when someone is gone, it only changes shape. Sometimes, late at night, he hears her voice in his memory, teasing, warm in a way no one ever expected from Natasha Romanoff. She never wanted redemption, never asked to be forgiven. She only chose love, and that choice cost her everything. When the child grows old enough to ask about her, Peter tells stories carefully, not of the blood, not of the missions, not of the final moment when she made her choice and never looked back. He talks about courage, about standing up when it matters, about choosing what's right even when it breaks you. And one evening, on another quiet rooftop, he kneels beside them. The city lights reflect in a mask that has seen too much. He says the words softly, not as a slogan, not as a legend, but as a warning written in loss. With great power comes great responsibility. The child nods. They don't fully understand yet. Peter hopes they won't for a long time, because power isn't what destroys people. Love is. Some people are saved by love, pulled back from the edge, given a reason to keep going. Some are destroyed by it, crushed by the weight of what they cannot protect. And some, like Black Widow, are redeemed by choosing love, even when it costs everything. The wind passes, the city calls. Spider-Man pulls his mask on one last time for the night, not because he wants to be a hero, but because someone once showed him that loving the world means being willing to lose everything for it, and he will carry that lesson for the rest of his life. In most universes, Black Widow dies. She falls. She sacrifices herself. She disappears into legend. But this is not most universes. This is the one where she survived. Not because fate was kind, but because Spider-Man finally refused to lose the woman he loved. Before entering the story, please click subscribe, like and share to get more videos. 1. The moment that changed everything. The Red Room collapses in on itself. Fire tears through concrete corridors. Steel beams twist and scream as if the building itself knows it is dying. Alarms wail, then choke into silence. Black Widow runs not toward escape, but toward inevitability. Natasha Romanoff was never afraid of death. She had trained for it, accepted it, planned around it. History had already written this moment. She would fall. She would pay. She would be remembered. But history did not count on one variable. Spider-Man arrived seconds earlier than fate intended. Not as a hero answering a distress call. Not as an Avenger following orders, but as a husband who has already buried too many people he loved. Peter Parker crashes through the upper levels of the Red Room like a force of desperation. Webs anchoring collapsing walls, Spider-Sense screaming too late, too loud. He feels it before he sees it, the moment where Natasha is supposed to die, and he refuses to let it happen. The explosion throws her across the room. Flames consume the exit. The floor gives way beneath her feet. Natasha hits the ground hard. Blood, smoke, silence. Her body doesn't move. For one terrifying second, Peter thinks he's failed again. He reaches her through falling debris, tearing metal apart with strength born from panic, not power. Her pulse is weak, her breath shallow, her eyes barely open. She's alive, barely. Peter doesn't hesitate. He wraps her in webbing, shields her from the blast as the building collapses inward. The Red Room, symbol of control, trauma, and stolen lives, implodes behind them in a fireball that paints the sky red. The world watches the destruction on the news and assumes the same thing it always has. Black Widow is dead, but she isn't. She wakes up days later in a quiet room far from the headlines. No monitors beeping, no Avengers standing guard. Just Peter sitting beside her bed, mask off, eyes red from sleepless nights. "You weren't supposed to come," she whispers. "I know," he says. "I never am." That's when the universe breaks, softly, invisibly, because Natasha Romanoff surviving doesn't just change her future, it rewrites everything. Without her sacrifice, the Avengers' emotional scars shift. Guilt doesn't settle where it once did. Clint Barton never carries the same weight. Yelena Belova never loses the last thread tying her to peace. The balance of grief tilts. And Peter Parker changes most of all. He is no longer the boy who loses everyone. He is the man who chose to save one person, even if it meant defying destiny itself. Natasha recovers in the shadows, officially dead, unofficially free. For the first time in her life, no one owns her file. No one pulls her strings. No red in her ledger. But freedom has consequences. Enemies notice anomalies. Timelines ripple. Forces older than the Avengers begin to observe. Because when a soul meant to die continues to live, the universe always demands a price. And somewhere, in a reality that no longer exists, the world mourns Black Widow. While in this new timeline, she breathes, she fights, she lives. And the story of the Marvel Universe is never the same again. 2. Aftermath, a hero who refuses to let go. Natasha is comatose for weeks. Peter never leaves her side. No suit, no patrols, no jokes. Just a man sitting beside the woman who taught him how to survive war. The Avengers notice Spider-Man's absence. Crime rises. The city grows restless. But Peter doesn't care. For once, responsibility means staying. 3. Black Widow wakes up. Natasha wakes up slowly, confused, weakened, and alive. She doesn't smile. She doesn't celebrate. Her first words are a whisper. "Why didn't you let me go?" Peter answers honestly, "Because I already know what that world looks like." Natasha realizes something terrifying. She survived, but the instinct to sacrifice herself didn't die with the Red Room. And that instinct may destroy them both. For the guilt that follows survival. Natasha struggles. Nightmares return. Memories resurface. She was trained to die for the mission, not live after it. Survivor's guilt eats at her. Every fallen widow, every agent she outlived. Peter sees it. And this time, he doesn't try to save her with strength. He saves her with patience. 5. The world comes back for her. Enemies learn the truth. Black Widow is alive. Old enemies resurface. Governments panic. Power vacuums form. Nick Fury warns them, as long as she exists, someone will try to use her. Natasha offers the solution she knows best. Disappearance, isolation, self-exile. But Peter refuses. Running didn't save Uncle Ben. Running didn't save Gwen. This time they face the world together. 6. The final confrontation, no sacrifice required. The last remnants of the Red Room strike. They expect Natasha to trade herself again. They expect Spider-Man to hesitate. They're wrong. Natasha fights without dying. Peter fights without losing control. No martyrdom, no last stand. Just two survivors choosing to live. And when the dust settles, the Red Room ends for good. 7. The life they were never meant to have. Natasha steps away from espionage, not retirement, transition. She trains agents, builds safeguards, prevents new Red Rooms from ever forming. Peter returns to being Spider-Man, but not alone. For the first time, his home is safe, not because the world is gentle, but because someone understands him. 8. Legacy, what they teach the next generation. They raise a child together, not as soldiers, not as weapons, but as people who survived violence and chose compassion anyway. Natasha teaches awareness, discipline, truth. Peter teaches kindness, responsibility, humor. The child grows up knowing something rare in Marvel. Heroes don't always have to die to matter. Years later, Spider-Man swings through New York, older, wiser, still smiling. Black Widow watches from a balcony, not as a ghost, not as a memory, but as a woman who lived. And in this universe, love didn't destroy the hero, it saved them both. Some timelines are written in sacrifice. This one was written in survival.